They said she could silence a boardroom with a glance. They said she fired people before their coffee even cooled. They said no one ever dared correct her. And they were right, until that night. The city buzzed with rain, neon lights reflected off polished car hoods, and inside the glass walls of the Sapphire Lounge, one woman sat alone at the center table, Evelyn Cross, the billionaire CEO of Cross Enterprises. Her reputation preceded her, brilliant, ruthless, and untouchable. She was hosting a casual dinner for her company's management team, though nothing about Evelyn was ever casual. Every seat around the table was filled with trembling employees, afraid to speak too loudly, laugh too hard, or make eye contact for too long. The waiter, a tired young man named Ryan Cole, moved quietly between tables. His uniform was a size too big, his shoes scuffed, his hands rough from odd jobs. But behind those weary eyes, there was something grounded, the kind of calm that comes from surviving storms no one else knows about. Ryan wasn't just a waiter. He was a single dad, raising his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, after losing his wife in an accident 2 years earlier. The job barely paid enough for rent and school fees, but it kept food on their table, and that was all that mattered. That night, fate decided to weave their stories together. Evelyn snapped her fingers sharply, calling for attention. "This dish," she said icily, pointing to her plate, "is not what I ordered." The room froze. The manager hurried over, bowing slightly. I'm terribly sorry, Miss Cross, we'll fix it right away." But before he could finish, she cut him off. "Do you people even listen? I said medium rare, not whatever this is." Her voice dripped with contempt. Ryan, who had served the dish moments ago, approached quietly. "Ma'am," he said respectfully, "that steak is medium rare. But the sauce is a bit thicker tonight because the chef's been adjusting the recipe." Evelyn turned, her eyes sharp as glass. "Are you correcting me?" The entire table went silent. A manager's pen clattered onto the floor. Everyone held their breath. Ryan could have stayed quiet. He could have apologized, smiled, and walked away like everyone else did. But something in him, maybe the part of him that had read bedtime stories to a little girl who believed in kindness, maybe the part that refused to be stepped on anymore, made him stand tall. He met her glare and said evenly, "Ma'am, sit down." Gasps filled the room. The sound of forks hitting plates echoed. But Ryan didn't flinch. His voice was steady, not disrespectful, not loud, just firm. "You've had a long day. You're angry, and that's fine. But no one here deserves to be treated like they're beneath you. Sit down. Let me fix your meal the right way." For the first time in her life, Evelyn Cross, the woman who ruled boardrooms, didn't know what to say. Her jaw tightened. For a long, tense moment, she looked like she might explode. But then, something strange happened. She blinked. Then slowly, she sat down. The rest of dinner went on quietly, though Evelyn barely touched her food. When the evening ended, she stood near the exit, watching Ryan clean tables. Her expression was unreadable. "Ryan, is it?" she asked finally. "Yes, ma'am." "You have a daughter, don't you?" He froze. "How?" "I noticed the drawing on your order pad," she said, nodding toward the small sketch of a stick figure girl with a pink dress. "She drew that for you?" Ryan nodded, caught off guard. "Every day before I leave for work. Says it keeps me safe." Evelyn looked away, something flickering in her eyes, maybe memory, maybe guilt. "She's lucky to have a father who still believes in standing up for what's right," she said quietly, then walked out into the rain. Chapter 2: The Knock at the Door. 3 days later, Ryan's apartment door rattled with a knock. It was early morning, and he was still half asleep, packing Lily's lunch. When he opened the door, a black luxury car was parked outside, sleek, silent, and intimidating. A tall man in a suit stood at the door. "Mr. Cole?" Ryan nodded cautiously. "Ms. Cross would like to see you." Ryan hesitated. "I already apologized to your boss if she insists," the man interrupted gently. "She says it's important." Against his better judgment, Ryan followed. They drove through the city, past skyscrapers and fountains, until they stopped in front of Crosstower, the headquarters of Evelyn's empire. Inside, the elevator ride felt endless. When the doors opened, Evelyn was waiting in her office, standing beside a window that framed the skyline like a painting. "Mr. Cole," she greeted, her tone softer than before. "Please, sit." Ryan raised an eyebrow but complied. Evelyn turned, eyes distant. "You know, no one's ever told me to sit down before. Not once in 20 years. I figured that," Ryan said lightly. A faint smile tugged at her lips. "You should have been fired that night." "Wouldn't be the first time," Ryan replied, half smiling. Evelyn's expression changed, from the cold billionaire to something human. "But instead, I want to offer you something else." Ryan blinked. "Excuse me?" She took a breath. "You stood up when everyone else stayed silent. You reminded me that leadership isn't about fear. It's about decency. I could use someone like that." "You're offering me a job?" he asked incredulously. Evelyn nodded. "Head of Staff Relations. Double your current salary. Flexible hours. And your daughter's school fees covered." Ryan was speechless. "Why me?" "Because," she said softly, "sometimes the strongest people aren't the ones sitting at the top. They're the ones who have every reason to stay silent, and choose not to." A few months later, Cross Enterprises began to change. The woman once feared by her employees was now learning to listen. Meetings became conversations. The staff laughed again. And every morning, Ryan would bring Lily to school, holding her tiny hand, knowing that sometimes all it takes to change someone's world, even a billionaire's, is the courage to say 5 simple words.